Hey, it's Drew Bentley here with Learn Guitar with Drew, and today we're going to take a look at how to learn the fretboard in 2 simple steps. Today's lesson will be about how to learn it from what I call east to west, which is sort of the horizontal way to do it, the traditional way, and then the next lesson in this little series will be how to do it with octaves. But first, thank you so much for checking out the video. My name is Drew Bentley. The channel is called Learn Guitar with Drew. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. In the comment section down below, you'll find links for my websites and other guitar resources, and I do teach guitar lessons as well. All of that stuff is down there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is look at the fretboard and how to learn this thing from sort of what I call the east to the west, and we'll make sense of all of this so it's not a giant mystery anymore, and you can memorize the fretboard pretty easily if you use some of these tools we're doing. So in my world, this is going to be north, this is south, this is east, and this is west. So we're looking from the north this way. Almost everybody ever who plays a guitar starts here on the East Coast and works their way west across our little guitar country. I don't think anybody's ever started here this on the 22nd fret or something and went this way. Like, that's not really going to happen. So we're all going to sort of think going this way across the fretboard, which is very logical, and that's what this first lesson is going to sort of look into. Maybe the very first thing to take a look at is the names of the strings. So we have a little saying here, like a mnemonic device to help us. It's Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. Okay, so the low E string, which sounds lower, so it's the low E string, is down here, is Eddie, and then we have A, 8, D, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. Those are the names of the strings, E, A, D, G, B, E. Moving from the north to the south, or from low to high. Okay, so now the frets themselves are going to follow the same pattern that a piano keyboard follows. On the piano, we have white keys and black keys. The white keys spell out C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Right across the keys, they're all alphabetical. But in between, let's say, for example, C and D, we have a black key. Okay, that's called an accidental. So it's either note as C sharp or D flat. C's below and then D's above. That depends on what key you're in. Some keys use sharps and some keys use flats. So you want to reference something called the circle of fifths to really get into that. The guitar lives sort of on the right side of the circle of fifths where the sharp keys are. So we're going to call these sharps for now, just because it works better for the guitar, but ultimately you can call them flats as well. Okay, so moving forward, E, F, first finger, first fret, F sharp, G. So that's one of those moments there where we have an F sharp between E and, F and G. F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E. Same thing here, B and C. There's no black key, so there's no fret between them. E's and F's and B's and C's. No black key. Now the first little special marker we're going to use here, the first little special tool, the 12th fret is the same as the open string. So therefore, everything past the 12th fret repeats itself. This is a D here, there's our baby D up here. Now why is this important? Because you don't have to learn the fretboard again up here. What we're going to do is take a look here as the 3rd fret's the same as the 15th fret. See, the markers are the same. And then we have this one, this one, this one. They're moving up in the same pattern past the 12th fret. So if we took a hacksaw and we cut our guitar in half right here where the fret is, which is not recommended, you would fold your guitar in half and the nut and the bridge would meet right in the middle. This is the exact middle of the guitar. Okay, so that's great. That saves us some time. We don't have to feel overwhelmed that we're going to have to learn the fretboard past the 12th fret. It's the same thing. Cool. Moving on to the A string. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, E, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, D string, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, D, C, C sharp, D. Okay, so you can see that I'm moving alphabetically, but I'm adding sharps and flats where, or actually sharps in this case, where they need to go between those notes. Okay, here's our next little special tool to help us learn the fretboard. The 5th fret of the low E string is the same as the open A string. The 5th fret of A is the same as D. 5th fret of D is the same as G. We're going to shift to the 4th fret of G is the same as B. 5th fret of B is the same as high E. Okay, so when you first learn how to tune by ear, that's what we're doing. 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 4-0, 5-0, sort of that technique. The reason the shift is there is that we couldn't bar if we didn't have the shift. So like 370 years ago when this guitar was created, the greatest moment of all time, just kidding. The reason this works is that whoever designed the guitar, which we don't know exactly, they made that shift happen. They're tuned differently. Here comes the pride. The bottom strings are tuned to a perfect fourth, but then there's a major third thrown in there. So the way this helps us learn the fretboard is we know that the 5th fret of this string is the same as the open string. That is another little helpful tool to find another way to memorize the fretboard. Let's go to the G string next. G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Like an old-fashioned horn. And that would be a modern horn. The old-fashioned horn is an octave. That's the interval. So you'll notice that I traveled up to the G string, 1 fret at a time, going through the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale is all of those notes in a row. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then back to A again. And you can start that on any letter you want to. Onto the B string. B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, high E string. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, G sharp, and E. So here's another helpful tool for you to help to learn the fretboard, another special little tool. The notes on the low E string are the same as the notes on the high E string. So once you learn the low E string, you've actually learned the high E string as well. So that's cool. That makes it easier also. So we don't have to focus on both of those. When you learn the low one, you learn the high one. I would recommend focusing on the bottom 2 strings first, especially low E and A, because that's where our power chords are going to mostly live, especially at the beginning of your playing. So when you're doing this every day, I would write a fretboard chart out, make 6 lines going horizontally, make some vertical lines, and fill out that chart with these notes. There's the E, there's the F, there's the F sharp, there's the G. Fill it out every day. Make a circle between the B's and the C's and the E's and the F's. That's where there's no sharps or flats. And you'll see there's a pattern on the guitar that emerges when you circle the E's and the F's and the B's and the C's. Okay? So every day, go do what I did. Just go horizontally from east to west across the guitar and name each note as you play them on the fretboard and write it out physically every day as well. And within a week, you'll really start to get a handle on this. Here's the last little special tool for us. The high E string is the same as the 5th fret of B, but it's also the same as the 9th fret of G, and the 14th fret of D, and the 19th fret of the A string, and actually the 24th fret of the low E string, but I had to bend to it with the 22nd fret. Why does this matter? The guitar is unique in the sense that the same pitch exists in multiple places across the fretboard. On the piano, that pitch exists once and then it goes past it. It's like a straight line, like linear. But here I can play the B here. There it is there. Here it is here. And here. So I would take a look at your fretboard chart when you write it out and notice where those notes are because they're the same. It's called a different timbre. It's the same pitch but a different timbre. And that comes into play a lot later in your development, where you can have options of where to play notes. So the 4 special indicators where the 12th fret is the same as the open strings, the 5th fret of the low E string is the same as A, and moving on down this way, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 4-0, 5-0. The third thing was that if I play the low E string and the high E string, they're the same notes. When you learn the low E string, you've learned the high E string. And the fourth one is, if you look at this note here, 5th fret of B, 9th fret of G, 14th fret of the D string, the 19th fret of the A string, and the 22nd fret of the low E string, 24th, 22nd bent a whole step, is the same as the high E string. So that note exists in multiple places, and that will also be very helpful when you're looking at the guitar sort of as like a grid, but also horizontally, diagonally, vertically, lots of different directions. Okay, so the next lesson is going to be about how to use octaves to start to learn the notes on the fretboard even more. And that's the next lesson, so go ahead and tune into that as well. If you got value from this lesson, please hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate that so much, and I can't wait to see you at the next lesson.